Hey, it's Stacie Duffy here, your Denver Metro real estate resource. And yes, I'm going to talk about some negotiating realtor commission secrets or tips or whatever, because my YouTube channel is about educating people, right? And helping people make informed decisions, because you're going to look for the information. So I would rather be a source of information, because people ask me this all the time. So I would love to just tell everybody about it. That's why I have a YouTube channel. That's what all my crap is about, all my videos. So yeah, I have some moving to Denver stuff, but that's not really why I do it. That and it's cheap therapy for me. So for negotiating realtor commissions, it goes a few different ways usually. And when I sold my first house, I was 27. I didn't have a clue, and I definitely was susceptible to one of these. So I'll talk about that. But I'm going to talk to me and my business and my experience and my clients, because that's what I know. That's what I work every day. I can't speak to other agents. We all work differently. That's why you should always interview multiple agents. Please. Please, please, please interview people when you're hiring someone to do a job for you, especially when you're going to sell your house, because that's when most of your money is on the line, because buyers at the moment are not currently structured to pay their own agent most of the time. So sellers are on the hook for a lot of the agent costs. So when you're negotiating commission with your realtor, you should not be better at it than them. There it is. I'm throwing it out there, because everybody wants to win. Everybody wants to feel good, but good agents are going to make you feel good, and they're going to win, and you're not even going to know it. And that means they're good at their job. So, and here, maybe after telling you this, you'll see an agent do that, or you'll hear it and you'll recognize it and be like, oh, that's what they're doing. Okay, that means they're good, because I didn't even realize it had I not watched this video. So it's usually going to fall into a few buckets, and it kind of depends on the client that we're working with. For me, it depends totally on the client that I'm working with, because there are some people that I will negotiate with, there are others that I won't, and there are some that I will flat out, I won't work for them unless they pay me up front or I charge a retainer fee. Because I have to protect my time, because I know what my time is worth. I know if I am spending my time with a client that I'm not going to get paid for 2, 3, 6 months down the road, potentially, or more, that time spent now is time that I can't spend with somebody else, okay? And that is a lot of what we have to gauge, and why some of what we charge, okay? On the video of why realtors make so much money, I shot this a long time ago. It was not great. I'm probably going to reshoot it, but I'll link it up here and down below as far as kind of how that pay structure typically breaks down. There is no standard legal set commissions. Okay, I'm putting that out there. A lot of us work for different rates, because we know what our time is worth and what our expenses are and what our brokerage splits are and all that kind of stuff. So we work for different things, and some of that time it's negotiable, sometimes it's not. Depends on the person, depends on the situation. So my people are usually going to fall into one of a few buckets, right? When someone is interviewing me to list their home to sell. And depends on the person. Like I said, if someone calls, I'll tell you right now, if someone calls me out of the blue and says, hey, I found you on YouTube, Facebook, you referred to me by so-and-so, whatever, what do you charge? I'm going to be selling my house. I'm very nicely going to say, you know what? I'm happy to sit down and discuss that in person. I am not able to tell you what it's going to cost, because I don't know what's involved in the job. So I need to meet you. I need to understand what your goals are. I need to see the property that I need to sell. I need to know what work is involved and what your timeline looks like, and all of that kind of stuff, and what you're looking for me for expertise for. So I'm happy to sit down and discuss that. But honestly, if what I charge is your top priority, I'm probably not the right agent for you. Okay. And I'll tell people that straight out. And honestly, some people are just like, okay, cool, thanks. Hang up the phone. Great. Because I just saved us all some time, because that is not the type of client that I am looking for. And that is not the type of client that is going to be happy paying me what I charge. Okay. So I just throw that out there. The other clients, like repeat and referral clients, I will tell you, most of the time, if I have clients that have found me that are, they're moving here to Denver after working with 2, 3, 4 other agents, they bought and sold multiple times, and they work with me. I have had clients that are like, I'm not calling anybody but you, and I have one client that's like, I used to do that 20 years ago. And they're like, I'm calling you. I'm not calling anyone but you, because they understand my value and they have perspective. They've gone through that process with other agents. So they know what experiences they've had, and they know what value I bring. And I bring a value that I bring expertise that they value, right? So a lot of my repeat and referral clients won't push me on commission at all. And you know what? That's fine. Some of those repeat and referral clients, I will offer a discount up front, because I value that they come back to me for the business, And I also, especially for the ones that I know how the process is going to go, I know that they're going to present a nice property, that I don't have to push them to get the dishes off the kitchen. I don't have to do a ton of legwork as far as prepping for photos. Things are going to be ready. I know that working with that person is going to be easier and is going to take less time for me up front. Then I will offer them like, hey, I'll pay this fee for you, or hey, I'll give you this discount or whatever, right? So I'll offer that up front. And that's just me and my business. Like I said, some agents will do that, some won't. Some agents will just say, oh, my brokerage doesn't negotiate on commissions. We don't allow that. Okay. That may or may not be a line. Some brokerages do a lot of brokerages will set minimums of, hey, this is the minimum that we as a brokerage expect to get paid. So if you want to negotiate anything above that, cool, that's you. That's out of your pocket. But we're going to have this minimum on what we expect a lot of the times. That's pretty common. Some brokerages will say, no, we don't negotiate on commission, period. And as an agent working for us, you can't. That's cool. A lot of times that's a line. I fell for that when I sold my first house. And I didn't fall for it. Hey, I sold the house. I made money. Great. Got me to my goal. Learning opportunity for me. A lot of that along with a bunch of other experiences is why I do what I do for a living. But when I went to sell my first house at 27 years old, I didn't know any better. And I called that agent back, and it was their second or third time at the property, sitting down with me, and we were going through an agreement to hire them. And I said, hey, would you do it for X? And they're like, oh, my brokerage doesn't negotiate on commissions. And I was just like, oh, okay. All right, well, let's sign it anyway. Because a lot of times, if that's the case, they know they're going to get hired anyway. So why would they give you a discount, right? So if they're that confident, and don't see that as a bad thing. A lot of people are like, oh, well, they should have given me something. Guys, if they gave you something when they know they're going to get hired anyway, it's either one, they're being nice and it's not worth fighting over the money, or two, they suck at negotiating. Your agent should be better at negotiating than you, okay? That is the whole point of this video. So that's one, another little bucket. Another potential negotiation opportunity tactic, whatever that comes up, is I have someone that doesn't know me very well. Maybe they're interviewing 8 or 10 agents and they're very cost conscious, and that's fine. The clients that value me and my expertise, then okay, they may or may not be hiring me based on cost. But they might say, well, would you do it for X? Or I'm going to be selling it with you and buying with you, and that's, 2 deals. What kind of discount do I get? And I always get excited because I'm like, oh, okay. I negotiate for a living, so I appreciate and respect that you're asking. I have no problem with that whatsoever, right? But there's going to be a couple different ways that can go, right? So, and I have learned this the hard way, I will say that, because I like to pride myself on I am very good at my job. However, part of being good at my job and negotiating, just to give you little secrets and tips here, is that the other person needs to feel good, especially when they're hiring us to work for them. So if that agent pushes back and says, you know what, I'm happy to negotiate that. What did you have in mind? Let's talk about it. A lot of times that may put you, or what did you have in mind is a nice way of saying it. They may say, okay, let's negotiate that. What do you want to do? And then you automatically get uncomfortable and you're, like, well, and you're just like, I don't know. I'll let you know. We'll talk about it. And then you just cross that person off your list and you move on to the next guy. You know why? Because they made you feel uncomfortable. And you don't want to hire someone that's going to make you feel uncomfortable, so you move on. Doesn't mean they're bad at negotiating. It just means that they wanted you to make the first move. And when you're in that position of trying to get someone to hire you, it just makes you feel weird, okay? So just be aware of that. It just means they haven't gotten burned by that yet. I have. I've done that, and I've not gotten the listing with that seller because that seller was like, no, I think we went with somebody else. I'm like, crap, that's what I did. I made them feel uncomfortable because I was so, for a lot of different reasons, I'm like, I don't know if I want to work with the seller. I was getting a lot of like, mixed vibes. Maybe this would be a good fit. Maybe it wouldn't. I'm not sure. I haven't met all the people yet. I don't know the situation. And then that question came up. My gut response was to be a little bit defensive, like, okay, fine. What do you want to do? Throw it out there. Let's get started with it. And happy to negotiate. I negotiate for a living. So keep in mind, I should be pretty good at this. And we have to cater to personality types, right? Because I have to know if the person that I'm negotiating with on that piece, or the person I'm interviewing with, if they tend to be very dominant, if they tend to be very controlling, if they are an authoritative position, if they want to have all the knowledge and be the expert, I'm going to lose, right? So a lot of agents, we want to walk that line of making sure you feel good, like you won, you got the deal, you still like me, but I negotiate for a living. I want to make sure that I cover my pocket. And so I don't want to fold completely. We'll talk about that in a minute. But so the better agents, Like I said, I've learned this the hard way, right? A lot of times we will say, sorry, my screensaver's going nuts here. We will say, okay, you know what? I totally respect that. And I understand, let's make this a win-win. So if you're going to buy and sell with me, okay. If you're going to sell first and buy later, I understand that. I got to make sure that my time and costs are covered up front. So instead of, doing a difference on the sell side, I'll give you a credit back on the buy side. Because I know, the seller might be offering me the co-op on the buy side for that one. So you wouldn't pay me directly, but I can give you some of that money back. We're going to make sure that we protect our time, because we get screwed so much. If we don't protect ourselves and our time, people use and abuse us all day long for a lot of different reasons that I'm not going to go into in this video. And if I ever do rant about it, maybe I'll come back and link it or something. I don't know. But we have to protect ourselves and our time, because we work for free for so long before we get paid. So the good agents are going to do that and say, you know what, I respect that. Okay, here, let's work out a discount. Or how about, I'll give you this, and then that helps you here. I still cover my costs. I make sure that you still get the full service package. How does that sound? Right? So it makes you feel good. It makes you feel like, all right, yeah, I see, I got a deal, right? And they're really the one controlling the negotiation and the situation, and you don't even realize it, and you feel good about it. So that's what a really good negotiator is going to do, is you're still going to feel good in the end, and they're still going to get what they want. Okay. So, and there's other negotiators that are just, maybe they don't need the money. They want to try out something different. And it's all about leverage, right? So if I don't really want this listing, or I don't really need it, but I'm happy to take it, and I don't want to negotiate at all, and that's fine. And I'm just like, you know what? Hey, I totally understand. I respect that you're asking for that. Here's the situation. I know what my time is worth right now, and it's not worth my time to give you that discount, because then I can go give that other client the same amount of time and get paid more. And maybe they're totally frank with you on that. And that's fine too. And that just means that they're willing to lose, right? They're willing to lose the business to somebody else, and that's fine. Depending on the position and the client and the part of town and the time of year, I'm in that position. Sometimes I'm not. So it just depends. It totally depends on the person. As far as totally folding, we're going to talk about that for a minute, because if the agent that you're interviewing and you're like, you know what, I want you to do it for half of that. And they're like, I mean, you drive a hard bargain, but okay. So either one, they set their price high enough in the beginning to know that that was going to happen, and that they're still okay making money at that. Or two, guys, if they can't negotiate for their own pocket and their own livelihood, they're probably not going to do a great job for you, or they just really need the money. Or there's some that are really well-oiled machines, and they don't need to make a lot of money because they don't spend a lot of one-on-one time with you, and maybe they take a lot more clients, and they have a team that they disperse things to, and they have other people that they pay things for, or whatever. Different people do things different ways, but just definitely, no one ever thinks of this. So this is the realtor talking to people, but I can't tell you this if you're the one hiring me to do the job for you. And I do tell my clients, or the potential people I'm sitting down, I'm like, now guys, keep in mind, if you're interviewing other agents, that we negotiate for a living. So if we're not good at negotiating with you, we're probably not going to be very good at negotiating for your pocketbook and your proceeds, because if we can't negotiate for our own livelihood, how good are we going to be at doing that for somebody else? So I'll let people know that, and I try to do it nicely, because I want them to feel good about the situation. But I want them to understand, I should be better at this than you. You are hiring me to do this for you. Okay? So understand that's what I do. So if you are looking to buy or sell here in the Denver metro area, and you'd like an interview, or you'd like to interview agents, I would love to sit down and interview for the opportunity to do the job. If I'm not a good fit, I'll let you know somebody who is, because I'm not going to take work that I'm, one, not qualified to do, two, not the expertise that you need or are looking for, or three, it's in a part of town that I can't service appropriately. So full disclosure, I'm not going to take work I shouldn't do or that I don't want to do. It's not worth my time. I'm not at the point in my business where I really, really need that. So I will recommend other agents if I'm not a good fit for your potential property. But feel free to reach out to me directly. My contact information is on my website. The link for that is down below. If you are looking to interview agents in other areas, okay? I love agents that are people like themselves, right? So I have a large network of agents, and I have lots of different agents and lots of different personality types and different expertise levels and specialties. So please feel free to reach out to me. I would love to make some recommendations for you. I will need a few details. I will need enough information to make a good recommendation, not just, oh yeah, I found this person on Google, here you go. I'm not going to do that, guys. I'm going to pre-screen those agents. I'm going to make sure that they're a good fit for you. And I'm going to give you ideally a couple of options if I can, so you have some people to interview as well, because I think you should interview too. So feel free to reach out to me about that as well. Contact information is on my website. Link for that is down below. So anyway, thanks so much for the time, and good luck negotiating with your agent now that you have some extra tips.